everybody, it is Nicole from iiKiui, and as you can see from the title, we are drawing Flora from WINX CLUB. So let's not waste any time and hop right into the video. I counted up the votes in the comments on the Rapunzel video 1 week after I posted the video, and on YouTube, Flora won by a landslide. But surprisingly enough, on Instagram when I posted, Raven was the majority in the comments. In total, Flora got 17 votes, where Raven was the runner-up with 8 votes, and then Rogue had 2. So since Flora won, that's obviously who I'm drawing today. And before you ask, yes, I will definitely draw all the other WINX CLUB characters, but I just want to alternate it so it's not just a whole bunch of WINX CLUB on my channel, and I can give other characters a chance. For the voting system in the future, what I want to do is put the runner-up from the last video in the next video's voting so that you have a chance to vote for them, and then I will add 3 other characters so I can continuously rotate all the characters that are put out, and you guys can vote for your favorite. Just as I did for this video, I will count the votes 1 week after the video is posted, so if you want your vote to count, be sure to comment or reply to the pinned comment that I leave voting for your favorite character, or at least the one that you want to see next. I've actually drawn Flora previously, but it was on Instagram, and it was in 2015, which I couldn't really believe because the drawing I think was actually a lot better than my style at the time. And at first I didn't believe it, so I scrolled through my Instagram, which is a lot of drawings, and you can see that the Flora was posted in the midst of a bunch of traditional drawings, so it kind of looks a little out of place. It was kind of interesting though, scrolling through my Instagram, because you can see such a difference in the style over time. Even from like 2018, there is a difference from my art then to my art now, and it was just like a blast from the past. My style kind of originated with WINX CLUB because back then, when I was on DeviantArt, which is a long time ago, I used to draw the My Little Pony characters in WINX style in their what I believed Believix transformations. It was definitely my most popular series on DeviantArt, and I've always wanted to redraw them because I don't really know when I drew them, maybe 2012, sometime in the beginning of college. And when I looked back at them recently, I noticed that they have really big necks. I might redraw those characters on YouTube if you guys want to see it, but if you don't, then I might just leave it for Instagram. The WINX style was probably the first art style I tried to replicate after my anime phase when I drew giant sparkly eyes. I found the art style appealing, which I'm sure many people did, and I tried to incorporate that into my style that was still in the very early rough stages. When I was starting my channel, which was a few years after I drew those WINX ponies, I did get quite a few comments saying that my style reminded them of WINX CLUB, and I can see why, because it was a style that I took a lot of inspiration from and influenced my current style. However, now that it's been many years later, I can definitely say my style has developed, and I've taken inspiration from other places as well to develop my current art style, so it's not completely inspired and influenced by the WINX CLUB style. But you can definitely tell there are elements in my art that take inspiration from it, or at least did a long time ago. So as for the WINX characters, Flora was always my favorite. I think I liked her soft personality, and her original voice really matched her in my opinion. I remember in the past when I watched WINX CLUB, maybe when I was 10 or 12, just a very long time ago, my sister and I really did not like Bloom, and to this day, I cannot figure out why I didn't like her so much. My only guess is that she was the main character, so she took away Flora's screen time, which was my favorite character, and that's the only reason I can think of. But I rewatched the series recently with my sisters, and when we were watching it, we were so confused as to why we didn't like Bloom so much, because she was the most reasonable and relatable character on that show. So now I can say that I do not hate Bloom, and I actually really like her as a character. So let's quickly talk about the sketch before I move into coloring. When I was first starting the sketch, my biggest question was, what transformation should I draw? There were so many to choose from, and if you watched WINX CLUB before, then you will know that there are a bunch of transformations. My favorite is probably the original Enchantix, but I also like other transformations like Harmonix and Bloomix. Let me know in the comments if you have a favorite transformation, and if you want to, you can let me know which WINX character is your favorite as well. I ended up going with the Magic WINX because it was the original transformation, and I figured for the first drawing of Flora, I should stick to the original. But don't worry, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to draw all the other characters eventually, and with that, I want to draw their transformations as well. Of course, don't expect it too soon because there are so many characters and so many transformations that it might take me a few years to complete, but I do want to do it in the future, so I hope you will stick with me until then. So getting back into the sketching and drawing part of this video, creating the pose was kind of a challenge because I wanted her to have a flying pose, but I also didn't want to copy any of the original artwork's poses. How I draw fairies is pretty inspired by WINX CLUB, so a lot of my poses I feel like are very similar to the WINX poses. I also wanted to show magic flowers or plants in some way, so I sketched some ideas on my iPad the night before, which involved a lot of different poses, like sitting poses, standing, even more flying, and I ended up with this one that you see right now, where she's flying and her arms are spread out and the magic is flowing from her hands. In order to balance the entire pose, I ended up putting her hair mostly on the left to balance her body mostly going to the right side. And this is really random, but when I was looking up reference photos, I did not realize that Flora wears shorts underneath her dress. Some of the reference photos have it, whereas some don't, so I think that's why I never realized it, but now I know, so I included it in the drawing. I added Chata as well to add interest and color to the piece. I think if I didn't add her, the piece would look very pink, green, and brown. So Chata adds that pop of orange from her hair and a little bit more green from her outfit. Moving on to the coloring, picking colors was definitely challenging because no color seemed to be an exact match. I guess I never really struggled with this before because a lot of the drawings, if not most of the drawings on my channel, are original, so there was no color to match in the first place. But now that I'm drawing more fan art, I think it is more important to match the characters to their original artwork. Picking the hair color was definitely challenging because her hair color is more of a gray brown compared to her skin, which is like an orangey yellow brown. I wanted to make sure that the tonal values, if turned to grayscale, were not the same, so there was enough contrast between her skin and her hair. Finding the right color was pretty difficult, so I ended up just making my own color by layering a bunch of different markers together. If you want to learn how I blend colors together or color smoothly with alcohol markers, I have 2 tutorial videos on my channel, which I'll link both in the description and in the cards. I think the most difficult color for me to find was actually the pinks, because many of the pinks were either too dark of a magenta, or they were red pink or neon pink, and they weren't the correct shade or vibrancy. I mixed a few markers together to get the pink that I wanted, and it kind of worked, but I feel like it wasn't as vibrant as I wanted. Of course, with traditional art, it's a little bit harder compared to digital art, so I kind of want to try drawing Flora digitally just to give it a try and maybe compare the two. If anything, I'll probably post that on Instagram because I don't think you guys want to see another Flora drawing, especially if it's the same pose. So I'll leave it for Instagram if you want to check it out there. After the coloring was complete, I outlined everything with the Arteza Inconic pens to keep that soft feeling, similar to what I did in the Rapunzel video. As always, the links to all the products that I'm using in this video are in the description, as well as the specific markers that I use for this video. So after completing the drawing, I looked back on it again a few hours later, and I felt like it was missing something. So I pulled up my Flora reference photos and realized that she lacks a bunch of sparkles in her dress. So similar to the Rapunzel video, I added sparkles with the Kuretake Starry Colors watercolor set. And again, I used watercolor on marker paper. I think it helped to add that shimmer and sparkle that they have in the show, and I'll probably end up doing this on all the other WINX too when I get around to drawing them. So looking back on it now, I actually don't really like how the hair blob looks. I think the idea of the hair to the left is fine, but the execution on my end was lacking, and I probably should have ended the hair only on the left and not continued it to the right. I also don't really like the shading on that blobby bottom left half of the hair, and if you can't tell already, the hair probably bothers me the most. It seemed okay at the time when I was sketching and coloring, but after looking at it for a long time, I really don't like that area. So if I do draw it digitally, I'm just going to crop that part off because Flora needs a haircut in my drawing. Overall, I do generally like how this turned out, especially because I tried to incorporate more of my style compared to just copying the WINX style. As per usual, I like the sketch better than the final, and I don't know why. Maybe it's the lines, maybe it's that it's not colored, I'm not entirely sure, but the sketch still appeals to me more than my final drawing. As I mentioned a couple times earlier, I will definitely be drawing all the other WINX characters as well as the transformations, but let me know if you want to see all that on YouTube or if I should just leave it for Instagram. I also will alternate it, so it won't just be a whole bunch of WINX on my channel. It'll be sporadically spread out, so you don't have to worry about only seeing WINX Club on my channel in like 2 months straight. Don't forget to reply to my pinned comment with your vote within a week so that it will count towards voting for the next fan art video that I post. You can also vote on Instagram as well, and you can follow me there at iiKiui. If you enjoy this series and like fan art videos like this, then please give this video a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos from me, then hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you're notified of when I post a new video, which is every Wednesday. So with that, I want to thank you all so much for joining me today. Keep drawing, keep creating, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!